Welcome to the Natural Birth Seminar presented by myself, Ajaya. We are redefining pregnancy and how we birth. It starts with knowledge, so let's begin. The first thing is creating a safe space. And for the baby, mama is the safe space. The womb is the safe space for the baby because it protects the baby from the elements and filters every threat from the outside world. Remember, babies are always listening, feeling, and sensing. The baby is learning about the physical world, his or her body, and emotions through the mother. These are some of the foundational programs being put in place. The womb is the first school. During pregnancy, seeds of doubt and fear release hormones into the bloodstream, which go into the baby. It is ideal to plant seeds of trust and love. Do not share or listen to birth horror stories. This is programming which will set the tone for birth. Mama's exposure to negative energy, including her own, should be limited. The baby feels what mama feels. These feelings begin to shape the baby's worldview and how they experience the world. It is important for mamas to process their emotions. Mamas feel a lot of emotions and feelings while pregnant, and the key is to feel them and let them go to show the baby how to process and let go of negative energy. If not, the baby begins to be trained to hold on to negative feelings, and negativity becomes a familiar feeling. Again, the womb is the first school. Voices can be comforts to babies in the womb, and warm and loving words program the baby to expect warmth and love in the outside world and makes them excited to be born. So talk to the baby. So now during the prenatal time, there are lots of things that are important to prepare a mother for labor. So nutrition is very important during prenatal time. A fruit and vegetable based diet is best. This means at least 5 servings of each a day. That will help mom from being constipated and also ensure that she's getting a variety of nutrients. She can drink her fruits and veggies in smoothies or fresh juice. This also programs the baby to prefer these kinds of foods. Mom should eliminate and limit processed foods such as fast foods, fried food, chemical additives, dyes, processed sugar, soda, etc. It is important that mom's diet consists of whole foods, meaning one ingredient like apples, beans, avocado, quinoa. Whole foods are unprocessed or minimally processed with nothing added. Let's look at the ingredients of the Fruit Loops. The first ingredient is processed sugar. It is filled with toxic food coloring and the preservative BHT. BHT is known to cause metabolic stress, growth retardation, and drastic weight loss. BHT has cancer-causing elements and is regarded as a possible carcinogen. Chemicals like this should be eliminated from the diet. And do not forget, the mental diet is important too. Positive and productive thoughts are good for the mama and the baby. Preparing the mind, body, and spirit. Physical activity is important to sustaining health and strength in pregnancy and for labor. Pregnancy and birth are physically taxing. Being out of shape only makes them harder. Remember, this is a marathon. Pelvic floor exercises are also good for helping mom maintain healthy positioning and a strong pelvic floor that she can relax at will, which is important in labor. Pregnancy offers a chance for emotional healing. Pregnancy forces mamas to face their unhealed trauma, and they can either process it or run from it, but it will resurface again in labor, where you must release everything and submit to the process in order to retrieve your baby. It is especially important to address any molestation or rape along with mother wounds. Exploring feelings and concerns around being a mother and about how she was mothered is challenging and freeing. Pregnancy is a great opportunity to release and heal and spiritually and emotionally level up. Watching positive birth videos and listening to positive stories help program mama and baby to be confident and prepared in the birth process. Education is powerful, and there is a lot to learn outside of the medical model. Meditation, visualizations, and affirmations are simple ways to prepare the mind, body, and spirit for birth. Affirmations. Mamas need to affirm positive thoughts to program the mind, body, and spirit. I am strong, I am confident, I trust my body are three simple and powerful affirmations. Visualizations further program the mind, body, and spirit. Visualizing the birth from start to finish and seeing the cervix open like a blooming flower are two useful visualizations. If you see it, you can create it. So that's why visualizations are so great. Meditations. Meditations are great for helping moms learn and practice proper breathing and breath control, which are vital in labor. The easier a mama can control her breathing, the better she can surrender to the birth process and allow her body to do the work. So the pelvic floor muscles, some people might know this as Kegel exercises, but the pelvic floor supports the bladder, bowel, and uterus. The urethra, anus, and vagina all pass through the pelvic floor. So in the pelvic floor is layers of muscles and tissue that stretch from the pubic bone at the front to the tailbone at the back and from one sit bone on the side to the other side. The pelvic floor muscles are normally firm and thick. Pelvic floor exercises are great for learning how to control the pelvic floor and practice relaxing it on demand. Keeping the pelvic floor relaxed during labor and delivery makes for a smoother and easier labor. Popular culture divides pregnancy up into three trimesters. The first trimester is from 0 to 12 weeks, or approximately 3 months. The baby is the most vulnerable at this time. Nausea is usually worse during this time because of all the changing hormones. It can be hard for the stomach to handle all the rapid change, but proper eating and herbs can help. Mood swings are another common symptom in the first trimester because of the hormone changes. Meditation and creative outlets are good for mood swings also. Learning how to harness and direct the energy of the mood swings is great preparation for labor too. Sore breasts and nipples are another sign of pregnancy. Mamas usually feel tired and sleep a lot during the first trimesters because her body needs a lot of rest because it's doing a lot of work to prepare the body for growing a baby. Second trimester is from about week 13 to week 28, which can be about 3 to 7 months. This is often called the honeymoon period because mama feels better and the speed of change has slowed down and the hormones in the bloodstream become more stable. Mama usually feels an energy increase, but symptoms like heartburn, indigestion, and constipation can show up but can be alleviated with proper eating and herbs. During the second trimester, round ligament pain and sciatica can become an issue, and there are exercises and stretches to help mama. And mama can also sit on a birthing or exercise ball to help relieve some of that pressure and keep a lot of stress off of some of the pressure points. And this is also when many mamas start to feel waves and kicks. So this is when mamas really know she's pregnant and she can feel the life growing inside of her. Now, the third trimester is from approximately 29 to 40 weeks. However, You can also, moms can also carry babies up to 44 weeks. And that's just to talk about the different ways in which they calculate how far along a woman is. So even up to 44 weeks is normal. But traditionally, the third trimester is from week 29 to week 40. This is when babies grow the most and being pregnant becomes the most taxing. Moms may experience sleeping problems, and side laying with a pillow between the knees is often the most comfortable position. Another reason for sleeping problems is frequent urination as the weight of the baby presses on the bladder. Mamas can gently lift their bellies up to fully empty their bladders when urinating. Swelling, especially in the feet and legs, is common, especially if mama is on her feet a lot. This is called edema. Mamas need to be sure not to stand for long periods of time. Mama also experiences practice contractions during the third trimester. These can range from unnoticeable to uncomfortable, but remember the uterus is prepping for birth and preparing mama for labor. These are also known as Braxton Hicks to a lot of people. So mamas are amazing. Never forget. Look at how a mother body changes to make room for her baby. This is nothing short of amazing. Mama's internal organs are shifting and being compressed. Remember the magnitude of what the body is going through during pregnancy. So it's a no wonder that you have indigestion. Look at your intestines are in your chest. Everything is being moved. So of course there's going to be some discomfort. The bladder is smashed down. If you look underneath the baby's head, so that's the frequent urination. So just don't forget the magnitude of what's happening and how amazing the female body is to be able to adjust and grow babies in birth. So, a birth plan. Now, this is a very popular term right now. People are developing birth plans, their ideas. It's kind of like the visualization of your birth. So, a birth plan is a written document of what mama wants for labor, and it is best in affidavit form. This makes it a lawful document instead of just a suggested plan, especially if you're doing a hospital birth. Birth plan affidavits are vital if you want your rights respected, even when they conflict with hospital policy. Remember, hospital policy is not law, and policy cannot go against or override law. Be sure to keep birth plans concise. This makes it simple for hospital staff to know what you want and what is not allowed quickly. Many hospital staff, many healthcare workers will become overwhelmed with long, wordy birth plans. And if it isn't an affidavit form, many doctors will not even read them. You're going to want to take a copy to the hospital to file in your medical record during the prenatal time. And then you also want to bring one on baby day. Be sure to highlight what standard procedures mama does not consent to for her and her baby, and also highlight anything that mom wants that differs from standard procedure. So that would be like if you want to have a lotus birth, you don't want to disconnect the cord, if you don't want the baby to get vaccinations or anything like that, that needs to really be highlighted in your birth plan. With the birth plan affidavit, it is easy for birth support, be it a doula, a partner, or anyone else, to advocate for mama and make sure her rights are respected. Undisturbed birth. Undisturbed birth is birth how it happens in nature, without civilization, without people instructing you on what to do, how it naturally and normally progresses. Birth is sacred. Birth is meant to be private. Mamas need to be safe and secure to properly birth. Having strangers look at her during her most vulnerable and intimate time is not ideal for birth. Naturally, mama is more comfortable in a familiar space and her body works best in a familiar setting. Navigating a new space and new people is a disturbance to birth. Too many observers often interferes with birth because it makes mama uneasy. If she would not be comfortable being naked around this person, then their presence is likely to be a disturbance. During birth, mama is at her strongest and most vulnerable. And being vulnerable with strangers is not ideal for undisturbed birth. When birth is undisturbed, it flows and natural hormones work properly. So, what are the roles of hormones in labor? Well, hormones are vital in most bodily functions, and they are the key to understand undisturbed birth. Hormones control labor, and mama and baby send hormones to communicate with each other. Natural birth requires us to respect how hormones and the body work to be the most successful. Hormones have many roles in labor and, when allowed to flow naturally, work beautifully. Hormones prepare mama's body for birth. Hormones start labor waves, and they prepare the baby for labor and life outside of the womb. Hormones are released to signal milk production and prepare the baby to nurse. Bonding and falling in love with the baby is also facilitated by hormones. Oxytocin is very important in labor. Oxytocin is called the love hormone, and it is released during lovemaking, fertile time, labor waves, and releasing breast milk. If birth slows or stops, then oxytocin is low. It is important to stay calm, comfortable, and confident during labor to ensure oxytocin is present in abundance. The synthetic form of oxytocin is called pitocin, and it overrides your natural hormones when used to start labor or to make the uterus contract down, as medical professionals will state. Another way to release oxytocin is nipple or clitoral stimulation if those levels seem to be dropping. Endorphins are stress and pain relief hormones, and they will gradually increase during undisturbed labor and altered states of consciousness. After labor, endorphins help release the placenta or afterbirth. They help mama be alert and attentive to her baby and offer a euphoric feeling. Mamas need to stay calm and avoid disturbances to encourage the release of endorphins. So, without the endorphins, that the memory of the pain is still there. So, in undisturbed birth, you'll get a contraction, and then there'll be the endorphins will be released so that you kind of forget that you just had that experience of a labor wave or a contraction. So when you're always disturbed, you're reducing the endorphins in the body. When mommy is disturbed, she gets less endorphins, which makes labor more difficult. Prolactin is another important hormone. Prolactin is also called the mothering hormone. It increases during pregnancy and peaks when labor begins naturally. Synthetic hormones like Pitocin used to induce labor means that mama will never receive her full dose of the mothering hormone. Now, when this is low, you might notice that the baby will struggle to transition from the womb to the world and struggle to grow. Moms will struggle with adjusting to motherhood, and it increases the likelihood of postpartum depression. Mamas must be supported in a low stress environment and with her baby breastfeeding early and on cue to assist in the mother child bond. Adrenaline is the fight or flight hormone, and it interferes with labor. Adrenaline increases with fear and extreme pain, and the medical model of birth uses a lot of fear when communicating with mama, and induction contractions are more painful than natural contractions without the endorphins to help with pain relief in between. If adrenaline is high, the baby can go into distress. Mama may experience feelings of panic and fear, and labor can slow or stop. It is important for mama to stay calm, comfortable, confident, and relaxed. Mamas have to trust their bodies and feel peaceful and secure for optimal results in labor. So, the natural flow of labors and how these hormones work together include. So, first, oxytocin starts labor waves. So, literally, birth is an act of love. Love is what the love hormone starts labor. And if mama feels safe, confident, calm, undisturbed, and comfortable, then her body will produce endorphins, a natural pain relief. Then, if mama feels safe, confident, supported, and comfortable again, she will release more oxytocin to bring on more labor waves. Warning: adrenaline at any point can stall or stop labor and prevent the production of prolactin. It is important to protect mama during this time. She only needs to focus on the experience of birth. And often in the medical model, they are telling mom, oh, you got to dilate here by now, or we need to do this, or your baby is in distress. And all these things can make the mother's adrenaline go up because she's scared. So that is another place where the medical model interferes with natural undisturbed birth. Altered consciousness. Hypnosis and relaxation are natural parts of undisturbed birth. When mama submits to birth and trusts their bodies, they naturally go into a meditative state and enter altered states of consciousness. Now, beta state is your regular waking mind. This is when you're talking to people, you're thinking, you're interacting. The alpha state is initiated with slow breathing. So this is the calm and relaxed mind. So if you take some deep breaths, now you're heading into the alpha realm. Theta is a deep meditative state, which mamas can attain with a daily meditative practice as preparation for birth. So naturally, if moms are left undisturbed, they will eventually get into the theta state. And this is like a deep meditative state. So they don't have to practice it to get there, but it'll be easier to get there if they've practiced it. And then delta is like the trance-like state. These are the parts that feel like a dream to the mother. So it's like, was that real? What happened? They might not remember really anything that's going on within that room because they're elsewhere. They're in the trance. They're in this dream-like state. So laboring mamas can go into altered states of consciousness and have out-of-body experiences. This makes labor and birth a less physical experience and a more spiritual one, but mama needs to be undisturbed and free to follow her instincts in a safe, calm environment. The medical model keeps mama in a beta state, which means she registers more pain. Labor. Signs of labor. The body starts prepping for birth during the third trimester, and mama may feel mild changes throughout, but signs that active labor is near usually involves a cramping feeling and possibly the cervix, or it may feel more like traditional menstrual cramps. There could be light spotting, which is normal, and it is a sign that the cervix is ripening. Mama's placenta could rupture or leak, and this is known as the water breaking. It could be a big gush or a slow leak, and on occasion, some babies are born with the placenta completely intact, or it may not break until the baby starts to crown. Mama losing her mucus plug is another sign of labor. This can happen the week or so leading up to labor, or it can happen early in active labor. It is a gel-like discharge when you wipe, and it can be opaque pink to red. Now, cramping and irregular contractions can last a few days, but once mom has a few contractions an hour for 3 or more hours, active labor is approaching. This is a good time to eat, as it may be your last meal before the baby is born. It is important for mama to listen to her body and follow her intuition. This is a good time to sleep or rest before your full attention is demanded. Mama's presence is a must in labor. There is no escaping, only complete submission to undisturbed birth. Mama might want to lay and fight the contractions as they start to pick up intensity, but getting active will help the body work better, and usually being upright allows the weight of the baby to help open the cervix. It is also a good time to make sure everything is prepared for labor. Go over the checklist, clear the space, and follow your birth plan. So, tools for labor. The breath is the most important tool, and with it, moms can go into a meditative state. Mama is pushed to the edge of her sensation, and the breath allows her to ride the waves of labor and manage the sensations. The breath also assists mama going into altered states of consciousness where labor is a less physical experience and often becomes a very powerful spiritual experience. A lot of mamas enjoy back pressure and a support person, which is stand behind her with their thumbs up, palms flat on each side of the spine, and push down slowly but firm. Ask mom if she needs more or less pressure. She could also like a hot compress with it. It's all about following mama's lead. Visualization and affirmations are two more great tools for labor. Mama can visualize the cervix opening like a flower blooming or affirm strength and trust in her body. Acupressure is another tool some moms might find helpful. Mama can squeeze a fine-tooth comb in her hand during labor waves, find pressure points on the back or behind the ankle bone. There are more tools, but these are some simple and effective ones if mama needs. So more tools. Back pressure massage are good tools too. So with the back pressure, that is the counter pressure to the contractions that can help provide mom with a little relief. But massage is a good tool just to help mom relax if she wants to be touched. Sometimes moms don't want to be touched during or in between. It's really important to follow her lead and listen to her instructions and read her body cues because she's going to be going through labor waves for a while, and you'll be able to read and tell when she wants what and how she's moving because she'll find her groove. So you pay close attention. A calm environment is another tool for natural undisturbed birth. So some things that can help a calm environment are essential oils, soft music, low lights, quiet and calm energy. They all help mom focus, feel safe and comfortable. And then she feels free to birth as she pleases. A rebozo is a long piece of woven fabric with many uses, but during labor it can be used to help relax mom and her muscles and release tension. So when you're using the rebozo, a simple sifting can help mom feel more centered and relaxed to continue her birth. It can help with the pain sensation and just loosen up the muscles. So if you can like YouTube a video on sifting. It's really simple, it's really easy. You can just use a long cloth or an old sheet or anything like that, but it's just a real simple technique to help mom. You could take the weight off of her belly with it. There's just a lot of things that you can do with it, and I definitely recommend them for moms. So now we're moving into labor. So stage one of labor. So popular culture divides labor into three stages, and stage one kind of has three different parts, and they're all usually referred to as labor. So early labor is when mom can still talk and she's pretty alert. The contractions are spread out, and this is a time where she can kind of eat and rest before labor becomes more intense. This is when the cervix is really starting to dilate or preparing to dilate even more. And active labor is when the contractions get more intense and require more focus. But mama still recovers in between and she should stay active. So this is when mom needs to get up and start moving. This is when many women might be like, ooh, this is too much. How long am I have to do this? This is where doubt can start to creep in early. And it's just stay active, stay confident, use the affirmations during this time. And then the third part of this is transition. And that's the third stage. So during this time, mom is thought to go from about 7 centimeters dilated to full dilation, which is said to be around 10. And mama may get nauseous or shake and is usually still disconnected between contractions. This is when mama gets in the zone. Mama should still listen to her body and change positions as needed. So positions for labor. There are many different positions for labor that range from squatting to laying down to kneeling, sitting, and standing. It is important that mama listens to her body and switches and moves intuitively. The body already knows what to do. Mama needs to communicate with her support team if she needs anything during stage 2 of labor. In stage 2, the baby makes his or her grand entrance. This is when the baby is expelled from the womb. Mama may feel like she has to poop at the beginning, and next she feels the pushing force. It happens automatically. Mama does not have to actively push. Upright positions allow the weight of the baby to help. In popular culture, mamas are encouraged to be on their back, but this is not the best position to have a baby. Being on all fours or in a variation of that can help relieve any back pressure. Mama needs to stay relaxed and keep her pelvic floor relaxed, which allows the uterus to work better. Stage 3 of labor. Stage 3 of labor is the delivery of the afterbirth or placenta. And mom might feel some mild contractions, but they're nothing in comparison to the labor waves from earlier in labor. And the placenta must detach from the uterus wall. So this could take some time. It's not a rush, 20-30 minutes. It should have detached. But once the placenta is delivered, it needs to be checked for missing chunks to make sure there's no afterbirth left inside. Bleeding is normal, but it should not be more than a slow trickle for a few minutes. Breastfeeding helps release the placenta and signal to your body that the baby is outside and receiving nutrients from the breast, so the placenta is no longer needed. Remember, the body and nature are very, very intelligent. I see the baby still attached to the placenta. That is a lotus birth, and that would just let that dry and it would eventually break off. And some arnica can help with muscle and bruising and things like that. Blue veravain is good to help release the placenta. And shepherd's purse or capsicum is good for hemorrhaging. So, what do you do with the placenta? Now, in some cultures, like I said about the lotus birth, they just allow it to dry, it clamps off, and that's it. It's a dry piece of something, you throw it away or bury it. Some people are getting into encapsulation, where you clean it, dry it, grind it, and put it in capsules and take it. Some people even just put it directly into smoothies to ingest it. Some bury it right away, maybe put grow a tree with it or a bush or anything like that. It's very open to what you do with it because right now, what the medical field does with them is they sell them. They do research with it. They make products out of the stem cells. They do a lot of things for profit. But as we begin to take back birth, other traditions will begin to form. And like I said, lotus birth and ingesting or burying it are three of the main ones. Home birth. Now, home birth sounds a little extreme to most people today, but home is where most women gave birth until the 20th century. The hospital is new to the equation, and statistics prove that hospitals are not the best place to labor or birth for healthy women. Hospital birth is a disturbance to the natural process of birth. However, home birth offers so much freedom. Unlike hospitals where moms have to fight for freedom to birth naturally, at home, mamas are free to move as they wish and eat, which is usually only a light snack, but you're free to create whatever you want, whatever environment you want. And mamas can follow their instincts, and if they want to get up or sit down or go to the tub, there's no one to check with. She is just free to move. um, the other thing is it's important to remember that a midwife, a licensed midwife, is a medical professional whose priority is their license. They have to follow certain rules and regulations to stay in good standing. Be mindful when and if you hire support for your home birth. And also, a lot of midwives have medical backgrounds, so they might have been nurses first. So they might still have a medical view of birth, and they still might be um, very hands-on and interrupt the natural process of undisturbed birth. Now, a doula is a personal support and cannot legally deliver babies, but they may support you in unassisted births if they are comfortable, although it could be a legal risk to them. So it's important to know that they are not medical professionals, but pregnancy is not a medical condition. So use your own discernment. And you do not need a lot of supplies for home birth. It's really simple. Clean towels and linen, a plastic lining for the floor bed. If it's not a lotus birth, then a string to tie off the cord, scissors to cut, or candles to burn the cord. Now, there are a lot of other things people may use in birth, including a birthing ball, a peanut ball, a rebozo, a birthing tub, a fetal scope, and some herbal tinctures. But again, none of that is absolutely necessary. Water birth. Water birth is becoming popular again, and for good reason. My son's birth was a water birth, and it was amazing because water birth is gentle for the baby. It goes from water to water. And water can be used for labor or for birth. So if you want to use it for birth, meaning that you want to actually push the baby out, or a mom wants to push the baby out into the water, it is best to stay out of the water until the transition. So that's like that third part of the first stage of labor. That's 7 to 10 centimeters dilated, according to popular culture. Or if you want to use it for labor to help with pain management during, you get in and out of the water when you feel it's needed, and you don't stay in very long because the water can actually slow your labor and just make it longer. And moms tend to be more relaxed in the water. You hit the water, it relaxes you. And remember, relaxation and submission are vital in birth, especially in a simple, easy birth. The water will also decrease your blood pressure, which some moms will tend their blood pressure. Your body's working, so your blood pressure is going to go up. If you are kind of feeling, if mom is feeling nervous, or if she's having any of that kind of stuff, her blood pressure will naturally go up, and water will just help decrease it. It also makes it easier to change positions because remember, mom's been working. This is a lot of work. So even moving positions from being standing up to squatting to all fours in the water, that is a lot easier and less taxing. So it can help her conserve energy. Water also reduces the chance of you tearing. So just because it's moisture, it's water, it's harder to tear things when they're moisturized and wet. And in the hospital, they are starting to offer water births, but they're only allowing you to use it for labor in most places. Um, Even though being born into water is gentle, and the babies do not aspirate water because they have not begun to breathe, they're still getting sustenance from their umbilical cord, so they can safely come be born into the water, come up, and then take their first breath. And babies do not have to cry at birth. This is something that has become popular with the medical model because the babies are in distress. But a lot of home birth and water birth babies may not cry at birth. They may gasp for that first air, and it stings. It's the first time they're using their lungs, but the crying and yelling is a sign of distress, and it does not need to be a normal part of birth. The medical model. Pathogen, diagnose, prescribe. The medical model is based on identifying a pathogen, creating a diagnosis, and prescribing a medication. Remember, every medication has to override the liver to work, so it is essentially poisoning. The article, The New Old World Medical Model, 4 decades navigating the biomedical and psychosocial understandings of health and illness, states that the purpose of the medical model is to provide a basis for understanding the determinants of disease and arriving at rational treatments and patterns of care. This is not a model based on healing or wellness. It is based on disease and does not have the capacity to honor birth because pregnant women are not sick and babies are not pathogens. But medical professionals seek out problems to prescribe medication or perform procedures. This is what the medical model was created to do. Just about everything done in labor and pregnancy are a disruption with the medical model. So, what do they have to offer mamas in labor? Hospital birth. Remember, the hospital birth is a place of business. The goal is to make money. Once you accept that, navigating this space is easier. Remember, they see pregnancy as a medical condition because that's all they were taught. They are drug pushers. The more drugs and procedures they perform, the more money the hospital makes. And doctors were trained to prescribe medication to make the field very profitable, billions of dollars a year profitable. The typical hospital birth is induced with unnatural hormones. The contractions are brought on by synthetic hormones are stronger and more relentless than natural contractions. And mama doesn't get the pain relief hormones or the natural oxytocin the same, if at all. Often mamas and babies go into distress, and the next step is a C-section. Now the baby is cut out of the womb and foregoes all the benefits of passing through the vaginal canal and experiences extra trauma along with the mother who must recover from major surgery and adjust to caring for a new baby. There is bonding interference when the birth is medicalized, and this leads to more postpartum depression and babies who have a hard time adjusting and bonding as well. Remember, the hospitals and the staff work for the mama, and mamas have to know and exercise their rights and trust their bodies if they want to have an unmedicated vaginal birth in the hospital. So the best way to be successful at this is to follow a few rules because it can be challenging to have a natural birth in a hospital setting, and an undisturbed birth is impossible as transitioning to the hospital is a disturbance. But if it is a hospital birth, it is advised to labor at home until the labor waves are 4 minutes apart, 1 minute long, for 1 hour. This way, when mama gets to the hospital, there is little time for intervention and labor is moving into transitioning, and they are less likely to offer medications, and it's not likely that the labor will stall or stop once mama is in transition. Avoid unnecessary interventions. This is a must if you want to have a natural unmedicated birth. This means no induction, no epidural, or any other medication recommended to help labor. Understand the hospital looks at birth according to the medical model. Pregnancy is viewed as a condition and the baby is a pathogen that must be removed. Birth is a spiritual journey, and women's bodies are made for birthing and birth fine when left alone. When it comes to When it comes to the baby, mamas who wish to maintain and build the natural connection between her and her baby should get immediate skin to skin contact with no vaccinations, antibiotics, or vitamin K. All these are synthetic and therefore not natural for a natural birth. Also, when they put the antibiotic cream in the baby's eyes, mom and baby cannot eye gaze to help build that bond. The eye gazing part is very important. Also, the hospital will advise the mother to register her baby with the state via the birth certificate. This is an optional service and may be refused. Hospital staff usually pushes policy and standard practice very hard, so mama and her support must be strong and persistent with their instructions and exercise their rights. Remember, they work for mama. Postpartum. So this time is very crucial to mental health. Having a baby is no easy task, and adjusting to life with a new baby takes time. There is an adjustment period, and different cultures honor this time in different ways. If mama is not supported during this time, it can lead to postpartum depression. Mamas should be resting for at least 10 days, but some cultures have night nannies or have other women caring for mama and baby for 40 days so mama can focus on bonding with the baby. Mama needs to have someone that they can call for help and feel comfortable to ask for as much help as she feels she needs. This help may be emotional, as mama needs to process her emotion, as postpartum is not all sunshine and rainbows, especially after a traumatic birth. Mood swings are still a thing, as hormones in the body are still changing and becoming stable. Postpartum is crucial to the mother-child relationship. When mama is stressed during postpartum, it can affect her ability to bond with the baby and the foundation of the relationship moving forward. To have healthy children with healthy relationships with their mothers, mama must feel supported in the postpartum period and be able to focus on bonding. So, healing in postpartum. Birth is an amazing experience, but it is taxing in every way, and mama is healing on every level, along with adjusting to take care of the life she just birthed. Gentleness and patience are a must. Mama must be gentle with herself and give herself time and space to adjust. For physical healing, herbal postpartum baths are great. They help heal the tissue, help the uterus contract down, and bring out anything that still needs to be released. It is suggested that mamas take a 10-day honeymoon with baby where she basically rests in bed for 3 days, maybe move around the room a little more for 3 days, and then the next 3 to 4 days move around the house. But mama should not be on her feet or walking much. If she does not rest, she can make her bleeding worse and even cause hemorrhaging. Belly binding is great to help mamas heal after birth. It provides support for the organs shifting. back into place while helping mama feel secure and snug as her abdominal muscles come back together. It is also great for reducing and preventing diastasis recti, which is the vertical gapping between the abdominal muscles. Replenishing nutrients is vital for mama feeling strong. Warm, wet foods are recommended. Stews, soups, curries, and are great and easy to add plenty of vegetables and leafy greens. Mom can also continue to take her prenatal vitamin or prenatal tea or anything that she has that's high in vitamins and minerals. Sleep is crucial, but it will most likely not be 8 hours straight. But mama can sleep when baby sleeps, or if she has support, she can sleep after she's fed the baby. Breastfeeding and co-sleeping are great to help mama get more sleep. Mamas always need to ask for help when they feel they need it. The postpartum support team is very important to how mamas experience her postpartum period. The best thing mama can do is focus on bonding with her baby. There is no need to stress over anything else. This is a precious time mama and baby can never get back. And as long as baby securely bonds with mama, other obstacles can be dealt with later. Building a support team. I stress again how important the support team is in postpartum healing, not just physically, but emotionally. The support team can include doulas, partner, family, friends, counselor, or support groups. Mama should not hesitate to let them know what she needs. Some things mama may need in postpartum are meal prep, house cleaning, emotional check-in, baby breaks, adult conversation, outings for other children, running errands, self-care, and visitors for her and not the baby. In closing, remember birth is simple and mamas have to trust and allow their bodies to work. Undisturbed birth is how nature intended mamas to birth, and it works to make for an empowering experience. Thank you for taking this journey with me. It is a lot of information, but remember, the body is intelligent and it works great when allowed to birth undisturbed. If you're interested in learning more, you can email me at ajayadivine@gmail.com or visit www.ajayadivine.com. You can schedule a private consult, learn more about the sacred birthrights, or partner birth training. Thank you.